He's made jokes about being like roughly the same age as your mom. You have not made those jokes, right? You know that that is a troublesome situation.
I might have.
Oh, Anthony. So excited to welcome in now one of my favorite young quarterbacks to watch in the league, Anthony Richardson, joining us on behalf of Dairy Queen, which we'll get to in just a second. I saw you tossing those chicken strips all over the store, and it is great to see you tossing anything. I need you back out on the field throwing a football. Can we be done missing you this week? Are you going to be back out there, Anthony?
That's the plan, man. Hopefully everything goes as planned, and I'm out there this week with my guys. So we're definitely looking forward to this week.
I certainly have you in several fantasy football leagues and have been missing you, my friend. How much talk around the locker room, around the stadium, do you hear pertaining to fantasy football? It's got to be a ton, right?
Yes. I hear about fantasy football a lot. I don't necessarily understand it quite yet. People tell me all the time that I'm on a fantasy team. I guess I can say I appreciate that.
I'm confused about how, like, you're a young dude. Fantasy's been popular during your lifetime. Did you never have a fantasy team prior to joining the NFL?
No, never ever. I don't think I ever will, sadly. Sorry.
Really?
Okay.
Do you know of? Do you have teammates or do you know of other active players who play?
I know quite a few people that have fantasy teams, and I know quite a few people that have me on their fantasy team. But I don't know enough on it yet, so I don't think I want to dive into that.
I tell you what, there are a ton of people that I've worked with. As soon as they're done playing, they're like they think that they're never going to get into it, and then they're like hardcore die hard into fantasy once they're done. It's like a connection to the game or something like that, but you don't need that at this particular time because you are immersed in it. I am sort of obsessed with the development of young quarterbacks, especially this year when we're seeing guys like Sam Darnold and guys who have developed in different ways around the league kind of having a lot of success. And so I'm really curious about what it has felt like for you, clearly very, very early on in your career, from year one to year two. And you kind of got out there for a few games last year, didn't get to play as many games as you would have liked. But I'm curious about the difference in feeling and how much command you have felt, how much more comfortable you felt, like where you feel you are in that curve.
Honestly, it hasn't been a long time. I've only been in the NFL for like a year and a half. Some people would say two, but it felt like I've learned so much. Despite it not actually been a long time. Like it felt like I've been in this situation for a long time. Just because of my teammates, the way they treat me in the building. The way the coaches talk to me and treat me. It's like, man, they don't treat me as if, oh, this is, the new guy right here. Like they treat me as if I've been here for 5 years. I know the standard, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know what they want from me. So just having a great, situation around you, I feel like that helps young QBs, but I feel like I learned a lot from year one to year two.
So a big part of your game, AR, is running the football, and that's part of what makes you great from a fantasy perspective. And, you're a big guy, and you're out there, you run like a running back, but I'm sure your coaches every single week, Anthony, slide. Like, how hard is it to get like that in the back of your mind when you're actually in the middle of a play where maybe the protection is broken down and you've taken off running with the football? Like, how hard is it for you to like not want to sort of, put your head down and gain an extra yard or two as opposed to sliding?
Honestly, I don't think about it too much. I just let my instincts just do what they do. Sometimes, it puts me in certain situations that might not end up good for me, but, it's football. I've been doing it for a long time, and I feel like I have a great feel when it comes to taking hits and delivering hits. It's just been unfortunate that I've been dealing with these, nicks and nags, but it's all good, man. It's all part of the process. I'm just trusting it, and I'm just enjoying playing football in the NFL.
So I'm looking for a silver lining here in terms of the fact that you've had to sit out these last couple of games. Is there any kind of positive that can be gleaned from this experience in terms of being on the field for a handful of games, being in the on the hamster wheel of getting ready for the next game and everything's moving so fast, and then kind of stepping aside and being in the meetings, but in a different way because you're not actually going to be on the field that week? Is there any kind of benefit to that kind of rhythm at this point in your career?
Honestly, those first, 2 or 3 weeks where I was, the starter, and I did have the opportunity to go out there and play. I went about it, each week a certain way. And then, the past couple of weeks where I haven't been able to play and go out there and step on the field, I went about that, a certain way. So I was able to learn like how to switch up my routine a little bit, focus on the importance of certain things inside of my routine and adding some other new things to the routine. So I feel like this time definitely helped me like, refine my routine to where when I am back on the field, like everything will be smooth. So hopefully this week I get to showcase that and what I've been working on.
Like how? Like how did you switch it up in the last few weeks in a way that doesn't, is there something that you can share with us that doesn't, like give anything away?
Yeah, the way I watch film, I'm always in the building and watching film in the morning, but this time I've been a little bit more deliberate on like what I've been watching, who I've been watching, and how I'm inserting our players against their certain defense and schemes like that. So I'm trying to just master the game and just go out there and just ball.
See, that's what I'm actually talking about, because it's like, it feels counterintuitive, and I understand everybody wants to be on the field. I'm not saying that like, oh, this is a good thing, but in a way, it's like you hear like Tom Brady over here saying like your quarterbacks don't get a chance to develop anymore. So now it's like a built-in situation where you can take a step back and kind of slow things down and look at things differently and reevaluate in a way that you don't necessarily get a chance to if you're just constantly game planning and getting ready for the next thing. You can take that step back and evaluate. And
yeah, for sure.
I think that's interesting.
What have you learned from Joe Flacco, right? I mean, this is a guy who's been to the big game, championship type of quarterback. Obviously, a guy who's come in the last couple of years and played pretty well. Have you learned anything from Joe in your short time as his teammate?
And, for one, I'm blessed to have, Joe Flacco as a teammate. I would have never thought, in my life I would be teammates with Joe Flacco, but it's definitely a blessing. But I would say the main thing I learned from him is just, don't make it hard. Like, it's just football. Just go out there and play. Like, I like how he just lets it be. Like, he doesn't, think too much about it. Like, of course, he puts his time in. He works hard for sure. But at the end of the day, it's football. We've been doing this for a long time. We love playing football. So why make it difficult?
He's made jokes about being like roughly the same age as your mom. You have not made those jokes, right? You know that is a troublesome situation.
I might have.
Oh, Anthony. In what way does the age difference show itself the most? How are you guys the most different? Like, is he calling you rather than texting? Like, what are the age-related differences?
For one, the gray hairs. I think he has a lot more gray hairs than I do.
Okay, we're done.
I hope so.
I've only counted 4 on my head so far. He has more than me. But I would say his storytelling, man. Joe has some great stories, just memories from playing with Ray back in the day, just him like certain games, just the ability for him to tell certain stories is just unmatched. And I like that a lot.
You mentioned hair. You have less of it.
Oh, yeah. I kind of, chopped it.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
that's good, man.
Something that
what inspired that?
I don't know. I called my mom one day and I was like, should I cut my hair? I asked her that question a lot because she's the one that helps me maintain my hair whenever I did have any hair. And I was just like, should I do it? She said, if you want to. And I just went home and got the scissors and was like, man, let's make it happen. I just went for it.
Wait. You did it yourself?
Yeah, I use the scissors a little bit, but I went and got it cleaned up by a barber.
That's good.
The mom that's the same age as Joe Flacco told you that you should cut your hair. Okay, got it. I'm keeping up.
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony, how much do you pay attention to what's going on in the NFL? Like, we had 2 big trades today. Devontae Adams goes to the Jets. Amari Cooper goes to the Buffalo Bills. How much are you paying attention? Because obviously these are 2 teams that are in the same conference as you.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever there's anything about me, I don't pay attention to it at all. But whenever there's anything going on, like any sports in general, I'm a huge sports fan. So for me, having the opportunity to be a part of the NFL and then still be a fan and see all of these moves are made, it's like, man, because I was just talking to my friends about it the other day about Devontae potentially going to the Jets, and it's like, wow, it happened. So now we're starstruck and just amazed by it. So I definitely pay attention.
Is that crazy?
What's
like,
your
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
as a sports fan, that you're. I mean, because it's still new. that you are that guy that like everybody else is waiting for the news on? Like the same way that you're sitting there waiting to hear what's going to happen with Devontae Adams. Everybody's home. Like, is Anthony playing this week?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I haven't wrapped my mind around it yet, because I don't necessarily see myself as that big player. I just play football and I love doing it. I don't think I'm up to that level yet, but I appreciate all the love and support that I get for sure.
So you're a sports fan. Did you have a favorite NFL team before you were drafted?
Sadly, I didn't, man. I just love watching football. So whenever anybody was playing, I just turned it on.
Same. And he gives me shit about it all the time, Anthony. He's like, you're not
so,
allowed to say that.
Not for nothing. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'd rather not be right now. So I just tell you that right now.
Anthony, I want to hear about your wide receivers. And I want to hear specifically about, let's start with Josh Downs, because I feel like this is a guy who's having such a good year. I mean, in fantasy circles, right? He's somebody that people want to play in fantasy. And I don't feel like we know that much about him. Tell me about him.
Josh Downs, JD. Man, for one, great person. He's a hilarious guy. Easy guy to talk to. He's a guy to get to know. And he's very intentional on what he does as a player and as a person. So I definitely appreciate JD, especially on the field, because he helps me get out of sticky situations sometimes, delivering the ball to him. But man, JD, he's one of one for sure. That's why he's rocking that one.
And what about Michael Pittman Jr., who last year, from a fantasy perspective, was absolutely fantastic. This year, he's been putting up some very good numbers as well.
MPJ, man, he's one of the main guys on the team. He's for sure a leader. A captain of our squad. Whenever he's talking, guys listen. And Pitt, he's a hilarious guy. He has his farming and fishing and all that stuff. He's a wildlife guy from California. I'll never understand that, but
fight on.
Yeah, that dude right there, bro. He's just a great leader and a great competitor. And just giving him the ball, it makes me feel good because I know he's working for it. So whenever I get to deliver it to him, it's like, man, I'm doing my part for him.
And how about Alec Pierce on the receiving end of all of these, like, back foot, huck it down the field, 70 yards throws that we see from you?
AP the one making it look good, man. I'm just doing my part. I just play quarterback. I just throw the ball to him. AP's the one going up and getting it. He's the one running the nice routes. He's the one putting the sauce on the routes and just making some plays, man. AP, he's more of one of the quiet guys on the team, but he's definitely like electric. Whenever he gets going and he's excited, man, he's unstoppable. So shout out to AP.
So you mentioned sauce. I know earlier today you and Jonathan Taylor visited a local Indianapolis Dairy Queen to prepare DQ's signature sauced and tossed chicken strips. First of all, can you imagine, Fabs, what this must have been like for, just some Indianapolis fans looking for like a blizzard midday. And then,
That's right.
Here come Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor throwing chicken around the store.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. It was definitely fun. We enjoyed it, especially them allowing me to have a food fight technically and they're throwing food around. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I always wanted to have a food fight. I always wanted to do that. My mom wouldn't let me do it. I'd get in trouble.
I think you should try it now.
I'll come to Indianapolis and I'll have a food fight with you. How about that? You and I and Jonathan Taylor. I will lose that food fight, but I'll gladly join.
Hey, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Give me your blizzard order.
I'll have to go Oreo. I'm a simple guy, so I'm gonna stick with Oreo.
That's on my list too. Reese's, Oreo, one of the above. Fabs, you got one?
I'm kind of simple too. I'd probably go Oreo as well.
That's a smart guy.
I'm all about the cookies, man. I'm all about the cookies, Rhodes.
Smart guy right there.
AR, first of all, super fun to see you out there in the community. You've got a cool vibe, dude. I like the vibe. You feel like a humble dude. And I gotta tell you, you are so fun to watch. And I can't wait to see, like, in the next few years, how your development looks and what you turn into a couple of years down the road. I think that the sky is the limit for you. And I really, really appreciate you making time to chat with us today.
Of course, I appreciate you so much. Thank you.